All right. Good morning, everybody. Welcome. We're glad you're here. Before we get started, I just had a couple of quick announcements. Actually, just one. We would like to know what you think of what's been happening so far, online as well. Let us know if you have any questions or if you have a future topic in mind you'd like to discuss as we move forward. You can email that to refugechiangmai@gmail.com, or you can text Vicki. All right? Okay, let's get started. My name is Niki. My husband's name is Jake. We have 3 kids. I think we have a picture for you. Yep, there's my family. Hunter is on the right, and then my daughter Rory, Jake, myself, and my son Jordan. Jordan and Hunter are actually twins, so I get asked a lot about if they're alike, how my children are alike, and if there's differences. Are they exactly the same? Do they have the same personality? I get that all the time. And so today, actually, we're going to talk about how every child is unique. If you have more than one child, you know that every kid is different. We have to parent them differently. They all have unique values and giftings and callings. Sometimes you might have a kid who is very much like you. And sometimes you might question where they came from at all, how you could even be related. But we want to celebrate our kids for who they are. And if we're honest, sometimes that's hard. Sometimes we don't always get along. Sometimes it's difficult for them and for us. How we are in our personality and how they are in their personality can be difficult. It can cause misunderstandings. I'm sure I'm the only one here, right? You may be frustrated sometimes. Just me, maybe. I don't know. Or stressed. It can cause stress sometimes. My favorite story to tell about how my boys are different, when my kids were young, my husband, he's done judo and jiu-jitsu his entire life, and he went to a camp where the gentleman running the camp was the head Olympic judo coach, so it's kind of a big deal, and he's a very large, manly man, and he has a one daughter, and that poor daughter, who's going to marry her? Like, her dad is He-Man, right? He's the Hulk. So he has what he calls the man rock, and it's this ridiculous large boulder. And he says, anyone that wants to date my daughter has to pick up the man rock. Okay? And he had some poor guy attempt it once. And he got down and he strained as hard as he could. And he finally had to let it go because it was so heavy. But he asked, is that okay? And he said, you did pretty good. You can come over to the house and hang out. That's what our friend said to this poor guy. So we were having this discussion in my house about the man rock. My daughter, Rory, is a tough girl. She's going to need a tough guy in her life someday. And Jake and I are talking and saying, we need a man rock. And I had a certain rock in the yard, and I said, oh, I know which one. And my husband was like, our boys couldn't even move that rock. And I'm like, well, isn't that the point? Like, it should be a hard-to-move rock. And up the stairs comes Hunter. And I look at him and I said, hey, Dad says you can't move the man rock. Granted, he has no idea what a man rock is, and immediately says, yes, I could. Where it is? Where is it? I'll move it right now. Like, I'm ready. Yeah, this is us when we were younger. These are my babies. Because they weren't always big. They're big now, but this is them when they were younger. Hunter, myself, Rory, and Jordan. So Hunter comes up. He's ready for the challenge and for the fight. He's in it. You don't tell me what I can't do. And I thought it was funny. So 5 minutes later, Jordan comes up the stairs, and I ask the same question the same way. Dad says you can't move the man rock. And Jordan shrugs his shoulders and says, I trust his judgment, and walked on. Right? So each child is different. And the key to loving your child well is to truly know them. Right? We all want to be known for who we really are. We all want to be loved for who we really are. And how much more do our kids want and need that as well? So this week we're going to look at how we can help our children flourish by learning how to study them. To parent our children well, we have to understand their uniqueness, the way they were designed. Our personality affects how we see things, how we react to things. And that is on us as parents to figure out those interactions with our kids. Not on our kids to figure us out, right? That's our job to figure out. The Bible says in Proverbs 22:6 that we should train up a child in the way he should go. And when he is old, he will not depart from it. Train up a child in the way he should go. We read this often in context of discipline, right? And that's important. That's a good topic too. I think we cover that in a week or two. But in this case, that's very specific. God made your child on purpose for a purpose. And we're meant to train them up in the way that they should go, not the way we think they should go, right? So I want to encourage you to learn how to fight for your kids and not against your kids. Sometimes we unintentionally fight against our kids when we're trying to make them into something that they're not. We fight for our kids when we try to embrace who they are and not what they're not or what we think they should be. And the better you are at this, the better you're going to be at calling out their greatness, like their potential, seeing their strengths and encouraging them in those things instead of pointing out their weaknesses, which makes them feel inadequate, right? And it makes them feel bad. It's hard. It's hard on kids and it's hard on us as well. There's an expression in America. I don't know if it'll translate, but I'm going to try to explain it. And it's a square peg in a round hole. And the idea is that if your kid is a square peg and you're trying to shove them in a round hole, it's not going to fit. And if you keep forcing it, you're going to take away some of their uniqueness, some of how they were meant to be. We don't want to do that. Our kids are worth fighting for, not against. That there is a cost to that. It might cost you your own preferences, right? A silly example is that I grew up playing soccer and volleyball and dance. I had all these extracurriculars that I spent a lot of time doing. I have 3 kids, and not a single one of them do any of the things that I grew up loving and doing. They all do judo and jujitsu and Muay Thai like their dad. It's a silly, small example, but being a good mom has cost me my preference. I'd rather sit at the soccer field on a Saturday morning than in a sweaty gym watching a judo tournament. Fighting for your kids might cost you your own desire to be understood. Sometimes other moms might not understand your kid or how you're parenting them or why. You may have to sacrifice your right to be understood by your in-laws. Right? They maybe don't understand. It might cost you your desire to be understood by your own parents, right? Or your friends. The cost of fighting for your kids might cost you your reputation, right? Has anybody ever said, my kid will never, right? That's how it happens. You say, before I had kids, I was worse at this. I would say, oh, my kid will never, right? And then they go nevering like they've never nevered. Yeah. It might cost you your reputation. My kids were on a panel. We homeschool. We've homeschooled my 3 kids. I think I'm finishing year 10 with my kids. My boys have since graduated. They're both in the U.S. now. Well, one's in Mongolia, actually, right now, serving. But they're both based in the U.S. right now. And they were on a panel in front of like 300 people at a homeschool conference. And the question was asked, what are your hobbies? Okay, and this is when I feel like my reputation is on the line. Because we take them hunting, we take them fishing. They are highly involved in youth ministry. They serve at a camp every summer for kids from the inner city. Like they have a lot of hobbies. They've done drama, they've traveled a lot, they do judo. In fact, the weekend before this question was asked, we had taken them on one of the largest rivers in Missouri to kayak. We used to kayak almost every weekend. They kayak the mighty Missouri, the mighty Mo. That's what we say. And when they were asked, what are your hobbies? in front of 300 homeschool moms. They said, yeah, we don't really have hobbies. We like to play video games. I was offended at my core. Like, you make me look like a horrible homeschool mom. But that's how they saw it. They didn't see those things as hobbies. That's just part of what they do as a family. And I couldn't keep my mouth shut. I had to stand up. I'm like, excuse me, we went kayaking last weekend. Right? I had to explain to all these other people. I interrupted the panel. It was not very nice. It was kind of rude, but I couldn't let it lay there. Maybe I should have. But the cost of fighting your kids is usually your cost, right? You may have to give up your own preference, your own reputation, your own desire to be understood. But it's worth fighting for your kids. And the best way I can describe it is that you can cause a child to flourish if you speak into their strengths and encourage them in those things, or you can watch them wither when you're constantly calling out what they're not good at and saying what they're weak at and pointing out their flaws and their weaknesses. We want our kids to flourish, right? All right, so we have a really fun homework assignment for you guys. And I'm going to go over it first, but there is a personality test. We're sitting home with you guys. This is your homework so that you can learn the differences between your personality and your children's. So at home, you'll see a test, and it's very simple. Circle the thing that most describes you and figure out what your color is. And then you're going to do that for each of your kids as well, so you can get an idea. And this is a really simple one. It's really fun. If your kid is old enough to understand, they can probably take this themselves. But we're going to go over what it means so that you are equipped with that when you go home. And first, we're going to talk about playful yellow. Okay? Playful yellow is fun. All right? And playful yellows, sometimes they control through charm. All right? So if you have a playful yellow, they might try to charm their way out of trouble or to get their way. All right? Their strengths are that they love people. Yellows love people. They're creative. They're colorful. They're funny. They're energetic. They inspire others to join. They're always saying, come on, come with us. This is going to be fun. It's going to be awesome. And if you have a yellow in your life, it's true. You're going to have fun. I can say from experience because I have a yellow and I am a yellow and I wore yellow to make my point. They're great storytellers. They're fun-loving. They're outgoing. They're optimistic. The yellow is the life of the party. You want yellows in your life. They apologize quickly, and they also forgive quickly, and they don't hold grudges. They're liked by their peers. Okay? So I'm a yellow. Hunter is is also a yellow. He is my mini-me to a T. He's twins. He's a twin, right? I said that. And can you put their picture up, the most recent one? Yeah. Hunter is the one on the right. And he's a handsome young man. So is his brother, okay? They're twins, right? They're the same height. They're both very athletic. They're runners. They do martial arts. They work out. They're smart. They're funny. I'm biased. I know. But it's true. If you know my kids, you like my kids. My kids are awesome. But the girls like Hunter. Hunter always has female attention. Not so much Jordan. And it's because of his personality. He's charming. He's funny. He's outgoing. He gets people laughing. In fact, I had the privilege to take him to YWAM and get him settled. That's where he's at right now. He's with YWAM. And he was super excited to be there. We were like one of the first people. He made sure of it. And when we get there, he's like self-appointed liaison. He is the greeter at the door. He gets in his dorm. Everyone that walks through, what's your name? Where are you from? What do you like? What are you into? He's making friends. We were there for like an hour. And he is making plans to work out. He's already planning field trips for their group. He's making friends. He's making people feel welcome. Oh, you like this? Come meet this guy. He's into that too. Where are you from? Oh my goodness, this guy's from Texas. Like, come talk to us. And it's just who he is. It's part of his personality. He used to help here sometimes. And that little charmer would get free drinks downstairs. Often he would come back and he would be drinking something. I said, where did you get that? Well, they gave it to me. What do you mean they gave it to you? I was just talking with them. They gave me a free drink, right? One time, he asked me, can I go to so-and-so's house? And I said, who? And he said my friend's name. I'm like, what? Why are you going to my friend's house? And, oh, well, it's Chinese New Year. We're making dumplings. I got invited. I'm like, you got invited to my friend's house to make Chinese dumplings? He said, yeah. I'm like, sure, go, have fun, right? But that's the kind of person he is. He gets invited to even, all ages. He gets along with everyone. He's fun-loving. He's the life of a party. He's a ton of fun. In fact, he's away now, and his cousin is with him as well. And because his cousin is there, his cousin's sister sent a video from her brother to my daughter, so I got to see a karaoke contest that they were having. And he can sing and dance some K-pop, let me tell you. It's just who he is. If you're a yellow, you might say, I'm the quintessential people person. I enjoy being the center of attention, and I'm energized by being with people. I'm bold and loud in almost everything I do. That's what your yellows are. So, talk about the weaknesses. And this feels like almost embarrassing because I am the epitome of all of these good and bad things. Their weaknesses are they're disorganized. On my report card my whole life, it always said, talks too much. Right? Every report card. Easily distracted. Often late. Sorry, Vicki, I was late today. We can be dramatic. We can forget our obligations. A yellow can overcommit, tends to waste time, hates to be alone, is fickle, means we can change our mind. We might make excuses, and we might repeat stories because we think, this is a great, hilarious story. Of course you want to hear it for the 4th or 5th or 6th time, when in fact, one is usually enough for most people hearing a story. So that's a yellow. Let's move on to the powerful reds. The powerful reds, their key word could be control. Okay? And often they will try to control. If you have a red kid, they might control through their anger. You might find yourself doing things not to upset your red child. Their strengths are that they're born leaders. The reds are born leaders. They get things done. They're decisive. They're visionaries. They're the decision makers. They feel like they have to correct wrongs. They almost have a compulsive need for change. They move quickly into action. They work well under pressure. They're production oriented. They're looking for practical solutions. They don't need a lot of friends. They lead well. They organize well. They're strong-willed, goal-oriented, confident. They're usually right. And they're great in emergencies. I also have a red living in my house. That would be my Rory girl. My Rory, she would like me to tell you, okay? And I'm going to pull it out because she's a red, okay? She would like you to know that this is supposed to be yellow, red, blue, and green. But she almost didn't take this quiz for me because, Mother, this is dark blue and this is light blue. This is not green. To her, this is a shade of blue as well. So if you are a red and this bothers you, I'm sorry. My daughter understands where you're coming from. She also is frustrated by that. And she's not wrong. It's aesthetically pleasing. I think I would have chose these shades of red, yellow, blue, and green, but she doesn't think this green looks green enough for her. So if you're a red, I apologize. She's not wrong. And sometimes we tell my sweet, precious red daughter, you're not wrong, but you're not right. Sometimes reds can be aggressive and dismissive, right? So you might be right in what you're saying, but how you're saying it isn't always right. A celebrity personality, my daughter has taken this sorts of quizzes to categorize your strengths and your weaknesses. And I don't know if anyone's familiar with Judge Judy. Do you know what that is? She's hard-hitting, truth-telling, not always the nicest, but that's my daughter's celebrity personality twin in personality, Judge Judy. They can be bossy sometimes. Teaching Rory to write was the hardest thing I've ever done in my entire life. You know, we're learning the alphabet. This is an A, right? No, Mommy, my way. You know? And I think by the grace of God, God didn't call me to homeschool till she was in second grade. And I think that was a grace and a gift because it might have broke me teaching her to write and read. She learned to write and read, and then we began homeschooling. And I think that was a mercy just for me from the Lord. Or to tap dance. I grew up dancing. I've been a paid choreographer. I taught dance, right? My little girl wants to learn tap. This is great. We had a place where we could tap, right? And so I thought this is going to be so fun. And I'm going to teach her shuffle step. You know, you just start with the basics. Like, we can do this together. She's coordinated. She can do this. And so we get the shoes. I still have my taps. They're in the U.S. now. But we put our taps on. We get dressed. We're ready. I can do this. And that little thing, little toddler Rory, no, Mommy, my way. You know? And so the thing about red kids is that you have to pick your battles. Some things, they need to do what you say when you say it, no matter what. Some things aren't worth fighting for. So I wanted this to be fun. I wanted dance to be fun. I wanted her to want to dance. So I said, okay, if I do it your way, will you do it my way? She said, yes. So I had to do whatever toddler Rory wanted, and then she would learn how to do it correctly, right? And that's how we progressed, because she wanted to do it her own way. She was, I would say, the best baby, but the worst toddler. And you don't want to say that, right? You don't want to say, my kid is killing me. This kid is killing me. She's so stressful. She's always so strong-willed. It's a fight every day. You don't want to say that. But you don't want to say like, oh no, they're an angel, and die on the inside, right? So I would say, she's a firecracker, which is true. She's still a firecracker. She's amazing. She's going to be a world changer. There was a poem, and this is 100% still true. And we used to, well, that's my daughter. The poem, part of it says, when she was good, she was very, very good. And when she was bad, she was horrid. That was my kid. She was a bossy baby sister. She's 100% in the red category. However, she would also like me to tell you, she's not just red. She had a little blue and a little bit of yellow. And because most people aren't just one color. And again, she's not right, but most of us wouldn't bother clarifying, right? She wanted you to know that. Yeah, if you're a mom with a red kid, don't give up. They're amazing. They're going to change the world. They really are movers and shakers. But you want them to do it in a kind way. You want them to be someone people want to lead. Or you want them to be leaders people want to follow, right? And not someone who just steamrolls over others to force their way, right? When Rory was little, it's funny. My husband is one of 5. And everyone has 3 to 5 kids. So my kids have 19 cousins. They're all close in age. They all grew up together. Very close family. And there's 3 girls Rory's age, and they're all reds. Very strong little girls. And I remember when they were maybe 5 and 6 years old, listening to them argue in the other room. I'm like, let's just see how this plays out. And I'm listening, and one of them's upset. We never get to do what I want to do. I want to play this, you know? And I hear my daughter say, well, if you weren't so sassy all the time, people would want to play what you want to play. You know, and all 3 of them have this strong of a voice. And I was just there to watch to see who wins this fight. But reds are great. If you're a red, you might say, I am a strong leader. I am very task-oriented and often find myself doing multiple tasks at once. If I'm not in charge, I want to be. And I hear this from my kid. At a young age, why are they doing that? They should be doing this instead. Like, that's inefficient. Let me tell you how to do it, adult. And she's not wrong, but you can't go up and you can't have an 8-year-old telling a 30-year-old what they're doing wrong and how they can advance and fix it, right? So how do you temper that? How do you do that? Their weaknesses are, they're too opinionated. They are workaholics. They're overly intense. They can be insensitive and manipulative sometimes. They tend to use people. They make rash decisions. They can be dominant and dominate others. They make decisions for others. They're too independent. They're possessive of their friends. They're impatient. They're quick-tempered. They can't relax. They come on strong. And they don't tolerate mistakes. And that's for others. They have a hard time accepting other people's mistakes, but they're really hard on themselves. They have a hard time accepting their own mistakes. If you have a precious red child in your home, for further reading, read The Strong-Willed Child by Dr. James Dobson. I read and reread that thing when Rory was growing up. I could probably use another refresher. It's been a while. But she is amazing. If you know my daughter, she's amazing. And she is kind. But that has to be taught. That's not necessarily going to be a Red's default setting. Let's move on to Proper Blue. If Proper Blue had a keyword, it would be perfection. They like things just so. They might control. If you have a blue child, they might control through their moods. You might find yourself tiptoeing around a kid, not because they're going to have an angry outburst, but because you don't want them to send them reeling into tears, right? Their strengths are that they're thoughtful. They have really high standards. They're analytical. They're serious. They're purposeful. They're idealistic. They are schedule people. They are orderly and organized. They pay attention to details. They're good with numbers. They're great at processes and systems. They are self-starters. They show initiative. They see problems and come up with solutions. They make friends cautiously. And they are loyal and devoted friends. They often stay in the background because they don't like attention. And blues are usually deep thinkers. They're your musicians. They are your artists. And my other twin, Jordan, he and Hunter. So they are twins. Jordan he's blue and green. So I'm probably going to pick on him a little bit twice. But Hunter's yellow, and Hunter's outgoing personality. Hunter left the house first, and I was afraid when Hunter left we would never see Jordan again. I thought he's going to be like a cat. He will only come out to eat. He's going to stay in his room. And somewhat that was true. Like him and his brother have a lot in common. They have a lot of common interests. And he's on his own now in the U.S. And I talked to him about these things. Like, how's it going? Are you connecting with people? Are you having fun? Because naturally, Hunter is going to go to, anytime the church doors are open, he's going to be there. If there is a party, he's going to be there. If there is an outreach, he's going to sign up. Like, he's going to be where the people are. He can't help it. Jordan's like, that sounds dumb. I'm staying home. I'd rather be in my own room, right? But all of us need people. So he knows this about himself. And I was so proud of him. I got to talk to him about a week ago. And I didn't get to talk to him the day before because he just ignored my call and texted, I'm sorry, I'm having coffee with a friend. And I was so proud of him, though, not for hanging up on me or ignoring my call, but because he had scheduled a coffee date, right? He knows he needs people, and it's not going to happen naturally, so he's being intentional with that. He's being intentional with his relationships to make time to schedule coffee with people. Yeah, so Jordan is really great at math and logic. He's just minded that way. And my dad is this way. My dad is totally a blue. But Jordan is mathematically minded. And because we homeschool, if you're a homeschool mom, you're taking the class too, let's be honest. But we were in advanced mathematics and at the same time, like pre-calculus and traditional logic. So if you've ever taken traditional logic, it's about how you think. Right? What makes sense? What's logical? So that when someone is making an illogical argument, you can say, actually, that's distracting from the point. right? You can understand and see fallacies, so you can recognize truth. It's a great way to think and learn, but it's complicated. And Hunter was struggling. It's hard. It's very hard. And Jordan was excelling. He just understood it. Like innately he gets this because he likes complicated numbers and systems. And Hunter's going, I don't understand this. This is dumb. Where's the fun? I don't want to do this. But I didn't understand it enough to explain it simply to Hunter. So I would have Hunter and Jordan sit down, and I would sit down with them, and I would ask Hunter, what are your questions? And he would ask them to Jordan, and then Jordan would say, because it's really easy. And no, that's not good enough. Pretend like I don't understand, because I don't understand. And explain it simply. So I would just be the mediator for this conversation because he understood it so easily that it felt silly to explain it to his peer, his same-aged brother, right? And my dad was like this too. My dad is an amazing man, but he has a hard time. My dad has a hard time. He's a blue because he wants to be perfect, right? And I remember at like maybe 10, 11 years old, I'm asking for help with my homework. And I remember the day I decided I'm not asking my dad for help with homework anymore because it was so painful. He would patiently explain it, but he cared so much about the minute, small details that he would over-explain it. And I would just hear, like none of the words made sense anymore. It would just be mumbles because all of the detail that I didn't care about, like just show me the answer. Like I don't care. Really, this is like too much. And I remember sitting down like, I'm going to figure this out myself. I do not want to ask my dad. It'll take 30 minutes. It was probably long division or something. It was nothing that complicated, but I didn't get it and I needed help. And I did not want to hear it from my dad because it would just be forever. And I love him, but it's too much for us yellows. Like, I just need to get through this so I can go have fun, okay? Make math fun, okay? That's your challenge. Have you seen Charlie Brown? Are you familiar with Charlie Brown? The cartoon with peanuts? Yes. And all the adults go, wah, 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 wah. Like they're not even talking. That's what I hear, right? That's what I would hear from my blue dad. I can't do this. This is too much. It's too hard. If you're a blue or you have a blue child, you might say, I tend to be a quiet person. I'm energized by time alone. I like things functional and efficient. And I appreciate things like agendas. I like detailed instructions and strong follow-through, okay? Their weaknesses for blues are that they lack spontaneity. They struggle under pressure, and they're hard to please, right? It's hard for them to start projects because they want it to be perfect, and they're hard to please because they have really high standards for themselves and everyone else, right? They can't function without structure. They remember negatives, right? Because their standards are so high, it's hard to meet them, right? So they remember the negatives often. They can be moody and depressed. They can be self-centered. They're not people-oriented, and they can be socially insecure. They can be suspicious, and they can be unforgiving. If you have a blue. If you have a green, let's talk about the peaceful greens. The peaceful greens. Greens, we could characterize them with one word, and that would be peace. They just want the peace. They're laid back. They're easygoing. They control sometimes, not through their mood or anger. They control through procrastination. They don't like confrontation, right? So this is actually my green son showing Jordan. Hey, can you do this for me? Oh, yeah, I'll get right to that. When he has no intention whatsoever of getting right to that. He doesn't want to do it. He's going to take his time. Okay? Their strengths are that they're relaxed. They're reliable. They're peaceable. They're your low-stress kid. They're low-key and easygoing. They're compliant. They're patient. They're quiet, but they're witty. They're competent. They're steady. They like to take the easy way. They have a lot of friends. They're hard to offend. They're adaptable. They're good under pressure. They're kind. They're compassionate. And they're great listeners. So again, Jordan's blue and he's green. But at a really young age, I realized Jordan can get along with anyone. Like, it doesn't matter what obnoxious kid from his class is with them. Like, he's getting along with the obnoxious kid. He's getting along with the loud kid. He is getting along with both of my kids. And it took me a minute to figure out. But if I put Rory and Hunter in a car together, there was going to be problems between the two of them. But I could put Jordan and Rory in a car together, no problem. I can put Jordan and Hunter in a car together, no problem. They get along. And I don't know why it took me so long, but I should always have sat, if we had a van so they could spread out most of the time. But if we had just a car and had 3 kids across the back seat, I always made Rory sit in the middle because she's the smallest and the youngest. But I should have stuck Jordan in the middle. It would have saved us all some stress, I think. He never fought with his siblings. He gets along with almost everyone. He's so easygoing. Sometimes it would stress me out. Like, dude, you got a paper due. Get on it. He's like, I got this. I've been working on it. Okay, show me your work. Well, I've been thinking about working on it. It's in my mind. I'm working it out in my mind first, right? That procrastination. Yeah, he probably was. He was thinking about it, but it takes a lot to get him upset. He's just easy. He's easygoing. He doesn't want to cause problems. In fact, it makes him a really good driver. He is such a good driver. He's steady. He's paying attention. He can take it in. He doesn't get stressed out. There have been times in Thailand where I was stressed out and I let a 19-year-old drive instead of me. Like, I didn't have a box for that thought 10 years ago. My husband, with the work we do, he goes into dangerous places. And he was doing an assessment, and when things were kicking off with Israel and in Israel with Hamas, and he let my son drive so he could work. He could be replying to emails. He let my 19-year-old son drive him around in a war-torn country. Like, that's how good of a driver he is. He's steady. He's easygoing. He's hard to stress out. He's compliant, right? And the thing about that is that sometimes it's hard to know what they're really feeling. It's hard to understand. It's hard to know because they just want things to be good and easy and low key. So it's hard to get them to tell you what they're really feeling, what they're really going on with them. If they're under duress, you're not going to know it probably. When he was maybe 12, I don't know, we were talking about, even at 12, like, what do you want to do? Right? If you have a passion for this, we want to prepare you so you have everything you need to go pursue what it is that you want to do. I want to open every door. That's how I looked at homeschooling. I'm going to open every door for you. Like, whatever you want, you can do it. You can pursue it. Whatever it is God would have for you, that's what we want for you. What do you want to do with your life? And I think that was too much pressure for 12-year-old Jordan. He's quiet, but he's quick-witted. He goes, I want to be a trash man. Like, he didn't want the pressure. I'm like, what do you mean you want to be a trash man? He's like, yeah, I like to get up early. They get up early. You get to hang out and be outside. I like to be outside. And if you want to, see if there's something free, you can dig around and find something free, And that's the easygoing, like too easygoing part of it, I think, sometimes. It's funny now, and I think I went into like a speech about then be the CEO of a sanitation corporation. But that's my laid back kid. And if you have a green kid or you are a green person, you might say, I'm laid back. I go with the flow most of the time. I can be different to different people, flexible, easygoing, and I respond as needed in different situations. So the weakness for the greens are that they're too quiet. They're procrastinators. They are stubborn. They can be prone to lying to avoid a conflict. If you're a green kid, they might lie just to keep you from becoming upset or to please others. They can be fearful. They can be worried. They can avoid responsibilities or be too compromising. They are not goal-oriented. They're hard to get moving, uninvolved, indifferent toward plans. They lack self-esteem. They're resistant to change and being pushed. So think of a turtle, the peaceful turtle. If you think a turtle is slow, have you ever tried to hurry a turtle, physically pushed it? It stops all movement and almost always retreats in its shell. You cannot push a green kid. It will backfire. So there's some overlaps with all these colors. Red and yellow are both extroverts. meaning they like people. They get fed by being around people. And blue and green are both introverts. They are recharged by being alone. Red and yellow tend to be more positive. Green and blue would be more negative. And my husband, who is hilariously, my husband and my son are about the same personality-wise, even green and blue. And me and my other son, again, the twin, are about the same, almost all yellow, a little bit of red. But my husband would say, we're not negative, we're realistic. Okay. We're optimistic, you're not. Red and yellows tend to be decisive. They like to make quick decisions. Blue and green take their time. They want to be thoughtful. Okay? Red and blue are both task-oriented, right? They want to accomplish a task. Whereas yellows and greens are more relationally driven. We care more about people than a task. We want to be with people even if the job doesn't get done. Red and greens are opposites. Okay? And yellow and blues are opposites. So, how does this work? If you are a yellow or a red mom and you have a blue kid, just know they have really high standards. And they're going to go, oh my goodness, this is the best thing ever, right? You might be saying this. And in their hearts, they might think it, maybe. But mostly they're like, it's all right. It's cool. Whatever. It's no hard feelings, okay? If you're a red mom with a green kid, be gentle with them. Be gentle. Telling them to toughen up or to go faster is probably not going to work. It will likely backfire. When you can, I know you can't always, but when you can, give them time. Like this is the kid on the playground that needs that 5-minute warning. Right? We're going to leave in 5 minutes, okay? Right? Or even at home, we're going to leave in 5 minutes. Make sure your shoes are on. Right? Are you dressed and ready? You can't say, we're leaving right now, put on your shoes, let's go. They will fall apart. Okay? If you are a red mom and you want things done and we got to get going, okay? And you got a kid who's the turtle, it doesn't want to move. Be gentle with them. They need space. They need time to think and to process. Okay? They're not going to tell you no, like my red child might have. Nope, can't make me, right? But they're going to make leaving very difficult. They're going to be slower. They're going to make it hard. They're going to say, I'm coming, and just take their time even more because they feel pushed, okay? Do your best. I have a friend. She's a green, and her daughters are green, but I'm a yellow, and my daughters are red. And we're friends, and then our daughters were friends. These opposites, the red and the green. A red will sniff out a green. They will dominate and control a green. They will rule them. And sometimes the greens don't even mind, like, please speak for me, make way for me, right? This was the situation. Even when they were little, and my kids, I had to be like, listen up, because all of them weren't easy. They didn't listen. They didn't listen if you were like, could you please, But my friend, her daughter, genuinely didn't want to upset her mama. And so she could just look at her and she would self-correct, And me, on the other hand, I'm like chasing Rory down, literally chasing her down. We were somewhere and there was rat poison on the floor. I see her pick it up, like, don't you put that in your mouth. Running, grabbing it, pulling it out of her mouth, right? Because she told me not to. Make me, And so this is how I think. And I don't remember what the situation was, but I think she was getting ready she was in the kitchen and she was reaching and I didn't want her to touch the hot stove or something like that. And I was like, oh, no. To little baby, her name's Hannah, little baby Hannah. And even like at 1.5, 2 years old, I just said, no, like that. And she just cried. She cried. And I'm so sorry. But her mom is that way. If you look at them funny, they might cry. You have to be gentle with greens because they're gentle, peaceable people. Be careful with your greens, red moms. If you're a green mom with a red kid, I'm so sorry if you're a green mom with a red kid. Don't give up. I know it's hard. They need you. Fight for them. There's a reason God gave you, green mama, that red kid. They need to learn how to be nice. It may feel like a fight. It might feel like a constant struggle, that it's always hard with this kid, right? But they need you. They're gonna rule the world. They're gonna rule the world someday. They need you to teach them how to take it down a notch. not to be so intense, right? Help them learn to be nice about how they lead and rule. If you're a blue mom with a yellow kid, this is near and dear to me because my relationship with my dad, I have a blue dad and I'm a yellow kid. And I just want to say, you don't always have to be on top of them, right? Pick your battles. Have fun with them. Please don't squash your yellow kids, my blue mamas, okay? Yeah, we can be irresponsible sometimes and we need someone to call us up and to hold us accountable. We really do. But also, we are a lot of fun. And if you just get down with us and play, we're going to have a good time. So if you are a blue mama and you have a yellow kid, take time to play with them. Enter into the world. It's going to be a good time, I promise. My husband, I'm yellow. I expect I like excitement. I like to hear, I like words. I like all these, I have big emotions, right? And my husband, I'm like, all the time, he's green and he's blue, guys. So happy, mad, sad, glad, whatever the emotion is, this is his face. It's pleasant. But he's not excited, And I'll say aren't you happy? This is amazing. Whatever it is, this is amazing. He's like, yeah, it's great. I'm like, show me your happy face. This is my happy face, right? It's just the way it is. Or the opposite. If you're a yellow mom with a blue kid, right? You're the fun one. You're the fun one. And this kid is no fun. He doesn't know how to have fun. It's a child that's a grown-up at birth, right? It's have you seen the movie Inside Out? It's a Disney movie. And the emotions are people. And so there's joy and there's sadness. And joy's always cheer up to blue, right? Well, there's a purpose for that serious blue. There's a purpose in that. They're very smart. They're very, they're stable, good people. You can't cheer them up. It's a losing battle, okay? Don't ever expect them to meet your level of excitement. It's okay that they're serious. So your homework is to figure out the kind of personality, the kind of mama that you are, and the kind of kids that you have as well. And here's the thing. You have 18 years, give or take. My kids are grown almost. My daughter just turned 17 last month. But it continues, right? I'm still their mom. It doesn't stop just because they move out of the house. You are a lifelong learner of your kid. It's a process. Embrace them for who they are, who God made them to be. And you can pray, Lord, what do these kids need to know? It's important that you do that. God, what do I need to be teaching them? Or, Lord, what do you need to teach me through this kid and this interaction? Focus on the good. Focus on what it is your kids are good at, who they were made to be, their strengths, and help them feel good about that. Help them feel good about who they are. Celebrate them. Celebrate their strengths. They might not always feel like they fit in, right? I think everyone feels that way from time to time. And I just have one more story. Jordan, my little blue man, when he was in 4th grade, this was right before we started homeschooling, I loved parent-teacher conferences. I wanted to hear everything that's going on with my kid. Tell me everything. And his sweet teacher, they had the kids do a self-evaluation. And one of the questions had to do with having friends at school. And my son said he didn't have friends at school. And the teacher asked him, well, why do you say that? You get along with everyone. I see you talking to other kids. Why do you think you don't have friends here? He said, I don't like the way the kids act here. He said, I have to be nice. I'm going to be nice. But I have my family. I don't need friends. Sweet boy, loyal, true. Yeah, he had his family. He had, even at 10, was standing up for those things. And I love him for it. If we tried to make that kid the social butterfly and be friends with everyone, he's going to feel like he doesn't fit because he doesn't. It's not who he is or who God made him to be. So just want you to rethink what success is, okay? Success as a mom is not conforming them to who you think they should be, but instead it's embracing them for who they were created to be, okay? Help them to grow in their strengths and their weaknesses. That's your honor. That's your privilege as a parent, to help them be everything good that God created them to be. You're your child's first teacher, right? You're the one saying, say mama, clap your hands, teaching them how to hold a spoon, You're their first teacher, and you're their best teacher. They have been with you from the beginning. In fact, you got a picture of them probably before they were even born, right? You knew first. You know them best. So don't underestimate the influence that you have on your children as their mom. Don't fight for them, not against them. I want to pray, and then we're going to take it to the tables for discussion. Lord, I thank you for the mamas in this room. I thank you, Lord, for the precious children that you've entrusted to us. And God, I pray that you would show us how to shepherd their hearts. I pray that you'd give us strength and courage to parent how you would have us to parent each of our children in a unique way, for they are fearfully and wonderfully made by you. And yeah, Lord, just encourage these ladies today and encourage their kids and bless our time. In Jesus' name, amen.